Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. It is Friday, October 21st, and that means that, of course, it is in the early morning hours just after the patch has been released on October 20th. And this is Xenoside here, of course, with Sunspan for GLHF casting. And this will actually be a little bit different because we're going to be releasing this out on the Dotacinema YouTube page, kind of getting some more content out for them, and looking forward to doing that. I know, Sunspan, you've been doing a lot of various voiceover things for their videos and mispronouncing hero names and all that fun stuff. So,
Rekamaru. Yes, it's been
exactly.
fun. It's been fun. But yeah, basically what we do patch note videos on Thursday night, late in the night, which is usually technically Friday, which is why we're saying it's Friday. And also we're going to start doing some podcasts, which I don't think we set a day for, but it's usually a weekly podcast. It might be every couple weeks, but we'll see how it goes, depending on how people receive it. I mean, we've been posting it on our channel, like you said, but now it's going to be on Dotacinema, so a little bit more exposure and more content for Dotacinema, so it should be good.
Yeah, just some more content, and of course you guys can jump kind of right into the whole Dota 2 experience and see what the heck is going on each and every Thursday as these patches continue to roll out. You will basically see here, looking at the updates screen in the Dota 2 client, that the list of changes is relatively short in comparison to what we've seen in previous patches. And the main reason for that is there's a big tournament coming up for Dota 2, which we're of course very excited about as well. And they don't really want to throw too many changes into things and maybe have some significant issues with the client leading into that tournament. With that, we do
Right.
have
Well,
some. Oh,
not to interrupt, but all they did was change. They just fixed a bunch of stuff, or a few things, I should say. And then obviously the three heroes is a huge change, but for the tournament mode, captain's mode, they won't actually be able to be selected, so it doesn't actually affect them whatsoever. So it's a good job by Valve and IceFrog, making sure that there's basically no imbalances in the tournament, no surprises. I mean, I'm right when the patch came out, I remember the main Dotacinema guy, aka Zeronix, coming to me. He's like, "Oh my God, you got to make 3 commentaries real quick because we had no idea 3 heroes were coming out." But I just crapped them out real quick. No problem. I'm a professional. Although my mic sucks balls. But other than that,
exactly. And
yeah,
I feel like you have like your script for Dragon Knight, well polished, just waiting to be used over and over again, and it just never will be, apparently.
yeah.
But we do have 3 heroes that are not Dragon Knight, and that is Broodmother, Queen of Pain, and Skeleton King. So just kind of jumping right into things with Broodmother, actually. I have to say that I hate spiders. They scare me a lot, and this model scares me too. So I think in that respect, they've done a good job. I think the model looks really good overall.
I think the passive is by far the best effect. It's like a little spider web, a little cobweb, basically, every time you attack somebody. I think that's amazing.
It is, and I think the model looks good. I think most of the effects look good. The first thing that I kind of have a tiny issue with is the web just looks. I mean, it doesn't look bad, but it doesn't look great either. The one kind of cool effect, as you can see here, is that when the Broodmother moves around inside the web, you kind of have the different strands of the web shifting around as she's kind of crawling through there. So I like that
Yeah, and
addition, but
some people are complaining that it's too big, but in fact, in Dota, it wasn't big enough, meaning it was actually bigger than it looked. Basically, you could be outside the web a little bit and still be invisible, which this isn't the case in this particular game. So they just made it actually what the radius is.
yeah,
And I
I'm a
think
big
it
fan
overall
of
looks
that.
good.
Just
Yeah.
having, I think having effects that visually represent what the spell or whatever actually does is important. I know it's always frustrating with some things. You're just like, how the heck did that actually hit me? Like the spell doesn't extend that far, and in actuality, with the mechanics of the game, it does. It's just that you don't see it that way due to the visual representation. So
Right.
I don't mind that change.
And
Um,
with Broodmother being implemented now, that's basically adding a pusher and a carry all in one, basically. So I like that fact because honestly, there's not enough carries right now, not enough pushers right now, and although we've seen an influx of invisible heroes lately, um, it's going to be another invisible hero. So
Yeah, that was definitely the one thing. Is I think they kind of even joked about it in the Dota 2 blog post. Like, now that you're kind of practice getting your gem and various anti-invisible things with Riki, we're throwing another one into the mix here.
Riki,
Ricky, it's just like Reese's. I'm sorry. You know me.
Oh God.
Moving on, of course, as we don't want a million posts raging about mispronouncing names of heroes that aren't even in the patch. We also do have Queen of Pain being added into the game. Now, this is a hero that I was excited to see, a hero that a lot of people enjoyed playing in the original Dota. And again, I think this is another one where her model seems very good to me. I really like the overall look. I like for both Broodmother actually and Queen of Pain. The voice acting for both I think is good. I didn't have any issues with either of them. Um, so for Queen of Pain, I like it. I like that they did a different animation for the blink than just kind of the default blink dagger
Yeah.
kind of blink thing. So that's kind of nice.
I think all her effects are pretty nice, and of course her rack is amazing. So automatically she's a great hero.
There we have it. The one thing though is with her Scream of Pain, I don't know what it is, but something just seems off with the the spell damage. I don't know. Sometimes things don't take damage when it seems like they should, and I haven't really been able to put my finger on why exactly that is or what I'm missing here. It might
Right,
just
and it
be
could just be a bug.
yeah, I don't really know.
I mean, every
But
hero they've put in has at least like one or
yeah.
two pretty big bugs, so I wouldn't be
Well, that's
surprised.
the thing is usually they'll put in a hero and then like the next week in the patch updates you'll see like 7, 8 like bugs just going down
Yeah.
the list of things that they fix. So who knows? Again, it's kind of a work in progress with all these new heroes and stuff like that. But for the most part, I think that she was ported pretty faithfully. It seems like she plays pretty well, and all of her spell effects are actually pretty. At least they're visually easy to kind of tell what the heck is going on. Her ult
Yeah, I've had no issues with them.
is like a nice big cone of death, so that's always nice. So I think that looks good too. Last but not least, of course, is a good friend for me actually, because this is one
Really?
of the,
Oh
the
yeah, that's
first
right.
heroes that I started playing in the original Dota, and the reason why is because I was so awful at the game. I look at this hero and I go, okay, I only have one spell that I need to cast. And of course, in Dota, you didn't have that nice row, of spell hotkeys is like all over the place. So I always had
Yeah.
issues with that. I have like a nice easy stun, and I have a bunch of passives. And then even worse, when I get myself killed for retarded reasons, bam, reincarnation. And of course, we're talking about Skeleton King, the final hero being added into the game here.
Yeah, and we actually were expecting Dragon Knight, but I can't say I'm too disappointed because I love Skeleton King as well. As you know, I'm a huge strength hero fan, so no complaints
Yeah, I
here.
think they could literally add like any strength hero to the game, and you'd be happy.
True.
Like I can't think of a single strength hero. You'd just be like, oh no, that hero. God.
That is actually pretty much 100% true.
So again, here's one thing that I will bring up. I do not like the majority of the stun projectile animations in Dota 2 so far. For me, every single one of them looks like some sort of glowing. It's like a freaking like photon torpedo in like Star Trek or I don't know what it is, but it just doesn't look like a stun to me, and that frustrates me a little bit. And ironically, Skeleton King actually has like the most visually kind of evident one. It's like this big glowy red thing that flies across and stuns
It's
people.
a fireball.
Apparently, yeah, it
It's
doesn't
a
really
stunning
look like a
fireball.
fireball,
How
but
dare you?
it is what it is. But I think that they could do a little bit of a better job, kind of making the stun animations more unique and a little bit more evident that these are in fact things that will stun you. Like not just this little glowy ball of death.
Yeah, I mean, I played him a couple times, and I have to say, although I don't think you agree with me on the model, I think the model, like, it could use some work, but I think what are we going to call it now? The thing over his shoulder.
No, I want you to use the word that you seem to think it is because
It
I think
looks like
that
a shawl. It looks like a shawl, so I'm just going to call it a shawl. Whatever it is, I think it looks amazing. I think overall his model looks really well done.
yeah,
And
and
playing
we
him,
we
go ahead.
obviously differ on that a little bit, just because I mean, one the cape or shawl or whatever you want to call it. It looks like he grabbed like not even like a legitimate carpet. It's like he grabbed like some old like ratty welcome mat that was too small to really cover anything. It's like I'm just gonna throw this over my shoulder. What's up? No big
It's
deal.
because it makes him look like a pimp.
This is stylish back in the 1400s.
Yeah, but playing
And
him, I mean, I mean, I missed him so much. I'm not gonna
yeah,
lie. I mean, his his critical strike, it just feels so good to critical strike. You can just feel it. It's just one of those things when it happens, you just feel it in the depths of your bowels, and you just can't help yourself.
Well, I agree with that. And again, it's a hero that I always enjoyed playing back in my kind of introductory days to the original Dota. So glad to see him into the game. Um, and like for me, having these kind of like foundational, like very basic kind of heroes, like that's not really a bad thing to some extent. A lot of times in other games in the same genre, things can get a little bit too fancy trying to come up with new hero concepts and stuff like that. So it's always good to kind of go back to, what we remember from way back in the day and just get these nice kind of basic heroes. It's like, okay, you got a stun, you got a crit, you got life steal, and, you at least can save yourself from dying, half the time.
Yep. And then the last thing I think we're going to be going over is the ability to pause the game, which incidentally was one of the things that we came up for the top 10 worst things about Dota 2, so you can knock that off right off the bat. Now, this is something that they're going to be changing, like the criteria over time based on feedback, but the fact that they have acknowledged that they need a pause of sorts, even if it is just beta right now, is very welcoming and very encouraging for me since I'm the one that brought it up originally because I'm awesome.
Yeah, and as you know, I'm glad it's in the game in any extent, and I think more importantly, I think it's good that it's in the game before the EWSC tournament because not having pauses in like that kind of a competitive level thing where sometimes when you have a big LAN, stuff goes wrong. Stuff
Oh, but they can
happens.
pause it in tournaments.
Oh,
Well,
sure
they
they
can't, but
can,
the
like,
admins
but they have
can.
to
They
ask
have
like
to have a
permission
spectator.
and everything, and
Right.
I mean, I'm not really a big fan of how they've implemented it because basically what they've done is they said that each person has three pauses, and you don't have to verify it or anything. It's literally like you press F9 in this case, and it's paused, and nobody can unpause it for
There's no
30
countdown or
seconds or
anything,
whatever
huh?
it is. There is literally just nothing. So
Okay. Well, it's better than nothing.
it is. So we'll leave it at that. But that definitely is going to need some tweaking in the future as people are just going to abuse it.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it sounds like something that they just implemented the bare minimum and are just looking for
yeah.
people to help shape what it's going to be. So I have no issue with that since it is beta after all. All right, guys, that's pretty much the end of the patch. Again, it wasn't very big, as we said, because of the tournament that's going to be going on this weekend, but hint, hint, next week might be a huge patch, maybe not in terms of heroes coming out, but in terms of everything else. Wink, wink, hint, hint. I don't know what else to say. Again, I mean, anything can change, so don't take my word for it, but we'll see what happens, and I mean, it's fun times. Dota 2 beta for the win.
It is, and this will be like the first really like the first major tournament I think since the international. So we get to
Yep.
see all the changes, and I think they've done a great job of continuing to tweak the client, and I think it's made significant strides since what it was at the international, which really isn't saying all that much to be honest. So with that, we're gonna wrap this thing up. Obviously, three new heroes added. That's always exciting stuff for us. So we're off to go play some more Dota 2. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed this patch update, little sneak peek here, and we'll continue to do these every Thursday as the patches come out. This, of course, is Xenocide, along with Sunspan for Good Luck, Have Fun Casting, and a big thanks to Dotacinema for throwing this up on their YouTube site.